Hello everyone, this is Nick from HF Survival School and thank you very much for joining me. Today we are out here in the woods in this hot summer day. I had planned some building upgrades on the shelter, but it is so hot that it is just impossible to work, and the place is full of mosquitoes. Today I'm out here with both of my boys. The other day I was sitting at home thinking about it, and I was thinking about how much actually does this thing of ours that we call bushcraft actually cost. I mean, of course it doesn't cost anything as long as you have the will and as long as you have the will to study, learn and practice. You really need very few items. You can probably get away with the $10 Mora and maybe a few other bits of kit, and possibly there's a very high chance that you can find some substitutes at your home in everyday items. So it really doesn't cost anything, but that's not my point. Like, for example, if you are a newcomer or if you are involved in bushcraft for a while and you want to think about maybe what does it cost to get involved in this craft on different kind of levels. So of course these are just my thoughts and based on my experience, and I split the thing in three pieces: beginner bushcrafters, intermediate and pro. I'll be making three videos. This video will be about basic bushcrafting, so I will be talking about all of the different pieces of gear that I recommend based on my experience and based on my knowledge. Of course, for your needs and for your thoughts, your mindset, it may be different. If I was talking to myself like 10 years ago, what would I say to myself? That's what I will be sharing with you today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first, let's start with the most important part, and I'm sure the part that you are the most interested in. That will be cutting tools. Here are basically all of my entry-level knives that I have gathered over the years. Entry-level knives, all of these knives are very good, they are very high quality, and I have had quite a few more, but I have given that away. These make great gifts. Let's start from the right. This is a Hultafors OK4 knife. This is high carbon steel, Scandinavian grind. It has a protective black coating, but after years of use it does actually come off a little bit. It has a rubber handle and a very comfortable one. I mean, really, this knife sits very well in the hand, probably more comfortable than the Mora. But I'm more fond of a bit longer knives. Other than that, I have really nothing bad to say about it. It is a great quality. It is made in Sweden. Hultafors is the oldest company. I think that is in production without a stop. I think that they have been in the production since the 17th century. But if I remember correctly, it has been quite a few years since I read their story. It is a very high quality, made in Sweden. Really nothing bad I can say. It comes with a plastic sheath. I also have a leather sheath for it that I took away from another knife, but great little enjoyable knife. And price of this knife at the point of making this video is $22 on Amazon. It got quite up, so it is a good investment. When I got this cost like $12 or $11, but it was quite a few years ago. Bushcraft was not that popular back then, so all of the prices got up since the time I bought these knives. This is one of my favorite neck knives. This is the Mora 510. This has the classic blade, but this model is different from the classic with the shape of the handle and from the material of the handle. It has a plastic sheath and handle. It doesn't have it technically has a belt loop, but in reality I doubt you can fit anything in there, so this makes a great neck knife. You can put it either way around. Again, Scandi grind, as probably you can tell, is my favorite grind. This kind of has a Scandivex grind, meaning it's not straight all the way, but it has a slight curve towards the edge. High carbon steel. Again, made in Sweden, Mora, you all know Morkniv. It is very high quality manufacturer, and this is a great little knife, great everyday knife, so this is recommended as well. The price of this knife at this moment, I think, is $12 or $13, so it is pretty good bang for your buck. It is a great knife, but you need to take a bit care because it is quite a thin blade, and don't try to do the stuff they do on YouTube, like beton with it and try to split wood with it. Talking about betoning, this was my first Mora that I ever got. I saved quite a few months for this knife back. That was, I think, 10 years ago, I think, somewhere like that. I didn't have money, I saved for it, and I at last bought it, the Mora Companion. But because I watched quite a few other guys doing stuff with their high-end custom thick knives, this is what I did. I actually broke a Mora knife. So it was a pretty big pretty sad moment for me. I was betoning through a piece of wood, and then I wanted to split it like this by doing this motion, not realizing how thin the blade is, and I just snapped in half. But being on a budget is very good because you try to adapt and overcome all of the difficulties that you have. So since then I was using this as a ferro scraper because it has a sharp edge over here. It is very good at striking ferro rods. I will show it to you in a few minutes. And from the other piece, which was broken away, I didn't have a knife, so it was a pity to throw it away. So that was what actually got me into knife making. I put a handle on that tip, so like this. It was like this. It has a tang here, so it was like this long, and I made this knife. I also carved a little wood spirit in the handle, and it came out a very decent, very good little carving knife. I don't know if it is a coincidence or if it was based on this, but here's a funny story. When this broke, I of course showed it to Mora, and I think 1 or 2 years later maximum, they came up with the Eldris model, which is basically the same knife with a different kind of grind. So that's a fun story. Again, the first knife that got me into knife making, and a lot of sentimental value, and also quite a good practical knife. Then this is also a very special knife. It is not an expensive knife by any means, but it is quite a collectible item. It is E. Jensen Mora knife. This is I think exactly like the Mora Classic #1. But this is made by the Jensen family. I think this is the last family that is making knives independently in the village of Mora. So again, high carbon steel, and a very nice quality blade, and a classic traditional style handle. Some people have a misunderstanding that your hand could slip on this barrel shaped handle, but that is really not an issue if you know how to use a knife. That's not a problem at all. This doesn't really cost that much. I think it costs like $10 or $12 in that range, but it is quite rare to find because their factory at their home had a small fire. I mean, they had a fire and the workshop was burned down, so I don't know if they continued working or not. So that's for that. And the main knife for today is the Mora Heavy Duty. What can I say about this knife? Whenever I don't know what knife to take with me on some kind of trip, whether it be bushcraft, hiking, backpacking, hunting, fishing, or whatever, I just take this knife. And this is the knife that I would recommend to, oops, you see that? Thick. This is why I don't like summer, because there are a lot of ticks, and it's bad for your dogs. Of course, it is very dangerous for your dogs, so let's cut it in half. So this is the knife that I would recommend for myself whenever I was starting bushcraft, or it really doesn't matter. Even today, if I didn't have any knives, this is the knife that I would buy. Price of this knife at the moment of making this video is $20 on Amazon. The difference between the companion and the heavy duty is the handle. On the heavy duty it's a bit bigger, which is very good, and also the main thing is that the blade is quite thicker, as you see, and this is why I would recommend this knife to any beginners. It has a Scandi grind. I try to keep this Scandi true, so that it is straight, not a Scandi vex, not like on this Mora 510, but a straight Scandinavian grind. Thicker blade, more robust, and this is the knife that shaved my face. I also have a video about that. I'll link it down in the description, where I shave my beard with this knife. This blade has a very high quality heat treat, because after all of these years, maximum what I have done, even after working on bones and stuff like that, maximum what I have done is sharpened on a 1000 grit Arkansas stone, or what I usually and most often do is just drop it on a leather strop with yellow stone compound, and it is shaving sharp. Knives are good, but to process some firewood you need other tools as well. The next tool which I would recommend is a saw. In this case, of course, the trusty old backhoe Laplander. True, you are not a true bushcrafter if you don't have a backhoe Laplander. This was the first ever so-called dedicated bushcraft saw. By that I mean a saw that I bought for bushcraft purposes, and I have cut very thick and big pieces of wood. Yes, I have cut even this size, the table, this diameter size logs with it. It was not easy, and it was not the best option, but it is possible, and I just can't say enough how high quality blade it has, because I have bent it. I cannot say how many times, especially in the first years of use, and it always came back to true when fixing it, and it never broke. It is still sharp and still cuts amazing. Having a saw like this is very good, but on a day trips and stuff like that, when you don't want to take your backpack, it is quite problematic. It was actually quite problematic for me to carry this. One or two times I actually even lost this in the woods, and I was lucky enough to find it. But having some kind of sheath is pretty mandatory, I'd say, because if you don't have a backpack and if you don't want to carry a backpack, this is the best option to carry it. I stitched the sheath myself. I think this was the first sheath that I have ever stitched, and it has a dangler sheath, nothing really fancy. It doesn't have to be leather. You can ask your girlfriend, your wife, your mother to stitch something from canvas fabric or something like that, or cordura or something like that, just so that you can carry it, and you can carry it secure, maybe with a flap on top if you are making from fabric, so that you don't lose it. The backhoe Laplander is an amazing folding saw. It cuts very great, and the price of the saw at the point of making this video is $25. Saw is really the best option, I'd say, for bushcraft purposes, for processing firewood, but at some point you will realize that you need a hatchet. Today I by accident brought a different hatchet. This is a Hultafors hatchet. This is quite an expensive one, but this is not the one that I will be talking about today, because for a beginner this is quite expensive. The hatchet I want to talk about is Husqvarna hatchet. It has a 13-inch handle, and for the short handle it has quite a heavy head. It has nice curved handle with nice figures, which is very comfortable to have it in your hand. As I remember, it has hand-forged steel. It is made from Sandvik steel, as I remember, but don't take my word on that. It was quite a few years back when I bought that. It has a very nice head shape because it has quite some weight and it is quite thick. Therefore, it is amazing little hatchet to split firewood. For its size, I'd say it really is the best splitter for its size. And also I have put a nice mirror sharp edge on it, and it is very sharp to make small detail cuts as well. I have also put a neck collar so that I protect the handle from chipping, and I have also made a new aftermarket X mask and a belt loop to carry it on my belt whenever I'm not carrying a backpack. I quite often, in this kind of summer environment, I quite often have my bushcraft belt with me, and I have all of my tools on the belt and carry it that way. Now the price of this hatchet back when I bought it was $26, which was a crazy price, of course. I mean, since then, yes, inflation happened, but not at that extent. And now when I checked the price has skyrocketed, and on Amazon at this moment it costs $55. So I would take the average price of back where what I paid and now, because I'm sure if you wait and you look around, or maybe find some deals and sales, you'll find it in the range of $45. So let's say that this hatchet costs $45. Now, after you are covered with all of the cutting tools and all of the fun stuff, then you need some kind of way to boil water, cook food, and etc., so that you can make something in the woods and not starve. So the thing that I would recommend is getting a cup like this. You can get it on Amazon and pretty much anywhere. This is not something new. This is old-fashioned canteen cup. It has a handle like this, and I would recommend getting a lid, because it makes quite a difference when boiling water, for example, and also for keeping all of the mosquitoes and the flies and some nasty stuff like that out of whatever you are making inside. This one also has markings inside. It folds the handle. This kind of cup I would recommend, no problems at all. Alternatively, if you don't want a cup, you can get a pot like this. This is a very old used pot. I don't even remember. Oh wait, I actually remember. A subscriber sent this to me in 2015 maybe. That's a random dog barking. I don't know who it is in the middle of the woods. Sounds like a hound. We'll see. Sounds like two hounds. This is interesting. I wonder if they come over here. If you don't know, hounds bark when they are running after some kind of animal on the trail. So back to the story. The cup, I mean the pot, it has a hanger like this with this wire so that you can hang it from a pot hanger. It is a very versatile pot because when you open it up, it has another little pan or plate, and I don't have it now with me, but it had another a bit deeper plate like this, which was nesting inside, and it is very versatile because you can use this to boil water, cook food. You can use this as a pan, and I have used this as a pan to fry stuff. I use the other parts to make bread inside this, for example. You can use this as well. You put some water inside, you put this, you put some dough over here, and you cover it with the lid, and you make a very nice bread with like that. I will insert the footage right now. So I'm sure you can find something like this, maybe used for 15 or 20 bucks. But for the beginner, I'd still recommend a canteen cup like this, and you will be good to go. A cup like this, including the lid, will run you $15. This is stainless steel. If you buy aluminium, it will be a bit cheaper, but I'd still recommend going with the stainless because it is less toxic and less bad for you. Of course, none of the tools will be coming handy, and your bushcraft journey will not be that enjoyable if you cannot start a fire. So to start a fire, I'd recommend getting a ferro rod, and not one of those little tiny ferro rods which are thinner than a pinky and you cannot strike them, but a good beefy ferro rod that will give you more heat, more sparks, and when you don't have the experience to have the proper preparation for the fire, this kind of huge ferro rod will come in quite handy because it gives quite some thick sparks. And here's the broken mora, and here's the sparks that it can produce. Just like that. And I'd recommend putting it inside whatever tinder you have and doing this kind of slow carving motion with your scraper, and not doing this when they are blowing away all of their tinder and all of their kindling. Just nice, smooth motions, trying to give as much sparks as possible. I got this ferro rod, I got the ferro rod blank many years ago, and I put a simple handle like this. Anyone can put a handle like this, some lanyard so I don't lose it, and very handy thing. This is kind of my idea. I invented, this is actually the first one. No, I think this is the second. Oh, the first one was with rivets. This is the first stitched one that I have made 6 or 7 years ago. No, I think it was 6 years ago. And it is a ferro rod holder to go on your belt. If you don't know, I make custom ferro rods, and you can buy some from me as well, but those will be a bit more expensive, and for a beginner I don't want to recommend something more expensive that has more aesthetics to it rather than functionality. Ferro rod like this will run you for about in the range of $20 if you want to put on a handle and put on a sheath. Maybe $25, $30 maximum, like that. Nice 1/2 inch thick by 6 inch long. Well, the blank is 6 inch long, but after you put on the handle it is a bit shorter. But a ferro rod like this is a must. It doesn't matter who you are or what you are practicing, you need a first aid kit whenever it comes to going outdoors and whenever cutting tools are involved. Here's my first aid kit. Everyone has to build their own with their own personal needs. For example, mine has some a little boo-boo kit for all of the nasty cuts, some non-stick pads, some medicines, headache pills, diarrhea pills, some painkillers, disinfective liquid, mylar tape, some cleaning wipes and stuff like, and some band-aids, so that I have all of my basics covered. And I would recommend getting a first aid kit to anyone. A kit like this would run you about $20, including a pouch, a military surplus pouch like this, and you should really not mess with any kind of cutting tools, especially if you are a beginner in the outdoors. Now comes the time when I talk about the most important part of your kit, and that is knowledge. If you are a beginner, you don't have experience out in the field, and to get experience you need knowledge. To get knowledge you need a book, and you need to learn from watching others, and you need to learn from others. This is a book called Bushcraft, Outdoor Skills and Wilderness Survival, by one of the founding fathers of bushcraft, Morse Kohansky. Sadly, Morse has passed last year. I didn't have a chance to take his courses in the Karamat Wilderness School. sadly, but may he rest in peace. He was truly an amazing person by himself and a huge contributor to this craft. This book covers all of the basics. In the end, it has also some pictures showing different stuff. So this book covers all of the basics that you will need. It has all of the pictures, how to do any kind of outdoor activity, and how to do all bushcrafty stuff, how to get wilderness living skills, as in the end of the day bushcraft, meaning of bushcraft is wilderness living skills, and this book will give you all of the knowledge to a beginner or to a pro or to whoever. All of this knowledge is based on decades of experience of Morse, and you will find it very useful, and this will teach you a lot of useful stuff, starting from how to use a knife properly, ending with how to build a shelter and everything in between, how to sharpen, etc, etc. So this is really a bang for your buck, no matter who you are. The price of this book at the point of making this video is $17. Back when I bought it, it was like 25 or 27, but since bushcraft was not as popular back then as it is now, the prices go down because probably more people are interested in buying it. Next item is not a must because all of us have cell phones, but even if you are a beginner bushcrafter and you are not doing any kind of outings and overnightings, it may still get dark on you, and you will need some kind of headlamp. Headlamp is very useful. Today I have two with me, and really I don't even have any more because this is the only two I need. This one is through night and it costs $30. It is a great, very high quality and my primary headlamp, but since $30 is quite expensive when you are getting into the craft, I would recommend this Energizer one, and it has a few options. It works on 3 AAA batteries and it is dirt cheap. It costs, at the point of making this video, it costs $12, so you really cannot go wrong with it. It works great, it does the job, has a comfortable headband, and you may find yourself in dark because time goes away fast in the woods, and it may get dark on you pretty quickly, and having a headlamp would be very, very useful. Doesn't matter what kind of high-end steel it is, whether it be a super steel, powdered, CPM 3 whatever it is, at some point or another it will need some sharpening. And sharpening is another skill, and it involves a lot of quite a few expensive items and equipment, but for a beginner, of course, you don't need that. All you need is a strop like this and a compound. Compound is small chalk-like thing that you put on the strop. You can buy a soap and a compound like this for like $12 on Amazon, and what this does is it polishes up the blade. The way you use it is you go against the cutting edge like this. I usually do this after every few trips on all of my knives, and if you maintain your knives like this by stropping them, you won't need any kind of sharpening options if you unless you make a nick or something like that, or unless you hit a rock or something like that with your knife. If you want, now if you do have a nick and you need some kind of stone, there are a lot of cheap stones. I would not recommend it. What I would recommend is getting a ceramic sharpening rod like this. This is ceramic rod, and the mosquitoes are biting me like crazy, and you can sharpen your knives with this. This is, I think, 800 grit, and to sharpen, now on the strop we went against the edge, but on the ceramic rod or any kind of stone you go against it, as if you are trying to shave the stone off like this. Yeah, ideally you try to put an angle on which the Scandi grind is at. So you will get a feel of it after you sharpen a lot. After you sharpen it on the stone, then you go on the strop again, and your knife will be razor sharp. Just like that, as you see it shaped. So if you want a more detailed, comprehensive review on different sharpening systems, I also have a video about that, covering a lot of sharpening options and sharpening machines. And if you want to watch that, I will include link down in the description. As a beginner, you may not be doing overnight trips, but still I would recommend getting some kind of cover. For example, if it is rain or snow outside, you will be able to still go out and practice. And to get some kind of cover, I would recommend getting a Polish lavu tarp. It is really two ponchos that go together and make a little tent. It is also a tarp, it is also a poncho, it is also a tent, so you tick a lot of boxes with getting that one item. When I bought it, it was $30. Now I saw it for $60, but I'm sure you may be able to find a sale, and let's take a price in between from what I paid and what it costs now, $45, and let's count the Polish lavu for $45. If you can't find the lavu, I'm sure you can find some local military surplus tent, pop-up tent or something like that. That will be again amazing quality, because military only has the best, and I recommend going with any kind of military surplus kit. The last mandatory item in your kit as a beginner that I would recommend is getting a backpack. Now, if you cannot afford a backpack, and if you don't have any kind of backpack at home, then I recommend making a Roycroft pack frame. On this kind of frame, you can tie some cordage to make a improvised backpack. You can take a blanket, roll all of your gear inside the blanket, and just attach it on this pack frame. And with this pack frame, you can carry a lot of heavy gear and a lot of heavy equipment, not talking about all of this light kit that you may need in the woods. If you can afford a backpack, then I would recommend, of course, the trusty old LK35. This is a Swedish military surplus backpack. There are two options. One is made from canvas and this is made from Cordura. It is waterproof, and I have been in very harsh rains with it, and not a single drop of water has went inside. This is from the 1970s. It is a metal frame backpack, and if you have dogs, it will be also covered with dog hair. That doesn't come in the kit, but in my case it is included. It has this kind of two straps so that it sits comfortably on your back. I have seen some people add some chest pads on it, and that really does help to remove some weight from your shoulders, and that is a great way to take heavier loads. It is a very versatile backpack because you can attach a lot of gear on the outside. I have also seen some people attach some pouches, and that makes it even more that gives it even more capacity, but in that case the original look will be ruined. I got this from Sweden. I bought it, I think it was for $30, and again, with as it was with the lavu, it got more popular since then, and now when I checked it, it cost $60. So again, let's take a price in the middle, and let's say you will be able to find something like this for $45. If you cannot find the LK35, you can find the Alice pack, which is military surplus from the USA, and I also have that, and that is also a bulletproof backpack. So this kind of LK35, doesn't matter the season, doesn't matter how experienced you are, or if you are a beginner or a pro, it is a go-to, trusted, high quality backpack that will last. It will probably outlast your whole life if you are not a crazy woodsman person that goes out there every day, and then it may not last, but it will last for decades. I can guarantee that. That's pretty much it with the mandatory items. Now I want to talk about a few bonus items and bonus tips. The first one would be getting a hammock. Cheap hammock like this will run you about $20 to $25 on Amazon. This is made from parachute material. It also has a bug net on the other side, so you can be locked inside and all of the mosquitoes will be on the outside and they won't bother you. It is very nice to be able to hang it, lay comfortably. Some people have troubles laying on the ground at first because of all of the stuff that is crawling on the ground and trying to bite you. So hammock is a great option. Also you can make a very comfortable chair, a bushcraft chair. It is a great item, so recommended. I want to show you a few more bonus items. It will be very good to have some kind of leather gloves. I have gone through these Well-Flamont gloves like 3 or 4 times. One pair usually lasts about 1 year, maybe a bit more. And this is the new one that I got, but this is maybe a different kind of model because it is a bit thinner. Gloves like this come very useful when going through briar bushes, when using tools, when cutting something. It makes sure you don't get dirty hands and it makes sure you don't get splinters inside your hands. Gloves like this you can buy for $15, and if you're not a hardcore user it will last you 2, 3, maybe 5 years, depends on the use again. Another item that I would recommend, I didn't put this in the mandatory part because since you are a beginner you will be getting your water from home and not doing a lot of deep wilderness stuff, so you may not need it at first, but at some point when you go deep in the woods you will need some kind of water filter system, and this is one of the best bang for the buck. This is the Sawyer mini water filter. This will filter 1,000 gallons, 100,000 gallons of water. It is very simple to use. You put this side on the dirty water stream and you squeeze the water, drink the water from this side. It comes with this kind of container. You just screw this off, screw this on like this. You put some water in here and you squeeze it out, and fresh water comes out from here. Filter like this at the moment of making this video cost $20. I think it was a bit more expensive when I bought it, but now it is cheaper, so you should definitely get it. Another item to consider is a spork. This is a titanium spork. Sporks means it is a spoon and a fork. Some even have a small sharpened edge over here to use as a knife as well. And this is very useful to have. All of my long-time viewers know that all the time I forget my spoons, and therefore I carve it from woods and improvise. I again forgot my utensils, so I had to improvise something. Titanium is very lightweight and it is very useful to eat all kinds of foods outside in the outdoors because it has a fork and a spoon. And a spoon like this will cost you about $10, so it is cheap as well. And the last bonus item that I would recommend is getting this kind of fire starters. This breaks off one by one. It is like basic matches. It is the same system, but on this side it is, I think this one is flint covered with some wax and some long burning stuff. This one burns for about 1.5 minutes, and we have all been in that kind of situations where it was wet or whatever and you were not able to start a fire, and having something like this can really save your day. On Amazon you can find something similar to this for $15, so this is also a very good option. Last bonus item that I would recommend is getting a tube like this, which extends, and this is a very simple, very lightweight, small item that you can put in your pocket, and it really makes a difference when you are having a problem starting a fire. You just blow in it and this small ending blows a lot of concentrated air, and it helps with starting the fire and getting the coals hot, and making the fire grow in case it is wet or something like that. So that's all of the bonus items. Almost forgot to show you the real last bonus item. To sit comfortably in the outdoors and not get your ass wet, you'll need some kind of sitting pad, and in my case I usually get this kind of hides. This is a sheep's hide, tanned sheep's hide or skin, hair on, and this is a goat. The goat is very nice to the touch, and the sheep is very warm. They are water resistant and they are very cheap. I think I bought this for $10 and this for $15, if I remember correctly. And I use them all the time, even if I don't use it as a seat. I throw it under my sleeping bag on the hip area so that I'm warm and more comfortable. You might also wonder if this cool shelter comes in the kit. No, it doesn't come with the kit. And you might ask, what's the price? Well, it's priceless. You have to go out and make your own. So the shelter really doesn't look that good. Now it's summer and I could not come up here in this heat and continue working. I want to make a chimney here and a lot of interesting stuff, but I have a lot of videos. I think it is a 10 video series where I built the shelter. It was looking differently. It had an opening door on top, and Max wants to cuddle, so I just have to. I'm forced to. He's already very old. He's 11 years old, and we have a lot of great adventures together, also with Rocco as well. All of the important links, and I'll try to link all of the gear down in the description so you can buy it. I'm not sponsored by anyone, I'm not paid by anyone. It is all used and abused and bought by me. And as you saw by all of the tools, all of them have quite a good patina and years of use on them. So all of this is based on experience and not just what someone else said somewhere. It is all my thoughts. Again, this is my thoughts. You may not agree, but we still respect each other. This is how I think, and this is how my philosophy. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't know, I also make custom knives and custom ferro rods. For example, stuff like this. And if you are interested in that, also all of the links will be down in the description. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be also posting a video of a basic bushcraft trip, what I think a basic bushcraft trip looks like. Again, yours may be different. I will post my version of it, and you can watch that as well. So thank you very much for watching. Stay safe in these hard times, and may God bless you. Have a nice day.